To help a leader consistently operate in a state of agency, we have to look closely at what is actually pulling them below the stabilization line. When a leader drops into reactivity or overthinking, it's because their 600 millisecond window has been hijacked by subconscious programming. Through my work, I've mapped out what lives inside that automatic window, and it breaks down into a fractal framework I call the 4 layers of automaticity. These are the 4 distinct subconscious traps that run at 11 million bits per second, firing before the conscious logic can even intervene. You've likely experienced at least one of these yourself, as well as observed one or all of them as others faced hijacking by their stressors. Layer 1 is the internal status threat. This is an entirely manufactured piece of noise. I also call it the hater reflex because in social media, you can see it happening in real time when somebody posts something that taps into another person's insecurities and they lash out at the person's character, even though they don't even know them. It can be like when a person important to your desired outcome looks at you with a neutral face, or an investor doesn't text you back within a certain window. And your neural pathways automatically spin a story about the worst case scenario. The threat isn't real, but your nervous system treats it as an active crisis. If you're not careful, that leads to a series of reactions to your own reactions, often multiple times a second. At this point, you are no longer in the present moment. Layer 2, that's the world of a few dozen cognitive biases. This is where your brain takes shortcuts to preserve energy. Your brain, an efficiency machine, is using past conditioning to quickly assign a past learned data point to a current reality. Shortcuts like confirmation bias can cause a leader to prioritize for data that proves their view of limitations or opportunities, completely blinding them to objective facts, which can narrow their strategic options. Other common cognitive biases you've probably heard of are related to authority, scarcity, social proof, fear of missing out, sunk cost fallacy, and more. Now, layer 3, this is the ego threat. This triggers the moment a leader feels their character, judgment, or status is being challenged. It could be in a meeting, or it could be as simple as an email. Maybe it's getting beaten out for a choice assignment. The system can interpret a mere disagreement as an attack on their survival, dropping them straight into defensiveness, borderline rage, or aggressive posturing. Either way, fight or flight is not far behind. Now, layer 4 is the phobia level. This is the most intense, deeply rooted layer of automaticity. It's a massive survival track where a specific stimulus triggers an instant, overwhelming biological shutdown. Fortunately, we don't typically see this in professional environments, but perhaps you've seen a person crashing out or catastrophizing irrationally. Now, this is similar. It's similar to the phobia response. Here's what makes this fractal 4 layers of automaticity so important for leaders. These 4 layers feed into each other. If a team member spends too much time trapped in layer 1, spinning benign internal threats, their baseline stress rises. This triggers a hypersusceptibility to layer 2, cognitive biases. After all, cognitive biases exist for our survival. When you're triggered by cognitive biases, your sensitivity to layer 3, ego threat, can spike exponentially, even for something that on a good day of a good week may go unnoticed. If your system is maxed out across the first 3 layers, any sudden shock can cause what looks like a complete crash out, a physiological freezing or explosion that mirrors a full-blown phobia response. These layers operate outside of conscious thought. You can't solve them with a logical conversation or by trying harder. As leadership coaches, we can help executives build upstream interventions in the same automaticity system in a way we never could before. Applied neuroplasticity starts where emotional intelligence stopped. Using neuroplasticity to intercept patterns of these 4 layers before the conscious mind is even aware of the shift. This means more coherence, more presence, and more consistent agency, regardless of pressure.